Welcome to the World of Horror podcast with Mom and Mac. I'm Mom.
And I'm Mac.
This is the podcast where we share our love of international horror. Everyone has their fears, but we are not afraid of subtitles. Disclaimers for adult language and spoilers. Hi, Mac. How's it going?
Hi, Mom. It's going good because it's Mother's Day and I'm talking with my mom, who I love. So what could be better? I feel very lucky. Shout out to all the moms in the world. And my condolences to everybody who doesn't have my mom. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't say condolences because I know some people just straight up don't have. Okay. Let me rephrase.
Mom at all.
Yeah. So genuinely, my heart goes out if you are not close to your mom and perhaps have lost your. Oh my God, I'm losing the plot.
It's hard.
Happy Mother's Day. It is. Well, not for me.
I think this is a really maybe not.
I'm sorry, just
kidding. I think for a lot of people it is a really tough holiday because you might have a strained relationship with your mom. Your mom might be dead. Maybe you had an abusive mom. Maybe your mom lives really far away. There are so many variations in terms of families and stuff. So, yeah. And it is kind of a Hallmark holiday and, you're supposed to send flowers and you're supposed to, do all this stuff, all this kind of like Valentine's Day, but for your mom, which is a little creepy. And I feel like I sent a message to a friend of mine who's a mom, but I was like, I hope she's okay because her kid is a little bit inconsistent. So, and if it's if it would make you feel sad if you didn't get a text or something from your only child, maybe that would bum you out. So I don't know. She just kind of said, "It's a beautiful day. How are you?"
I'm sure just hearing from you on any day would be nice to her. So even if maybe her child didn't say anything, it was like, oh, well, somebody's thinking about me. So that probably felt nice.
Yeah, I hope so.
But yeah, I have some friends who have lost their moms and I'm sure there's essays that could be written about the thought I'm just about to have, but okay. Am I wrong in thinking that, there's obviously differences between moms and dads. There's obvious differences in just the whole concept of one. And I'm not saying I really miss my dad and Father's Day last year was really tough for me. I feel like there's something different about a mom. Perhaps it's my friend and I were talking about this on Friday. She's really close to her mom and she kind of has I really hate her dad, always have. He's a total asshole. And we were both saying many people can relate to having a shitty dad, unfortunately. I feel it's when somebody tells me their dad's awesome, I'm like, wow, good for you. But I feel I'm not trying to put pressure on moms, but I feel it feels like a special sort of horrible if somebody has either a tough relationship with their mom or has lost their mom. Does this make again, I'm not trying to dads owe it to their children to have the same amount of, we shouldn't let them off the hook. But I just do feel for people who I feel that must really suck.
Yeah, for a lot of people, it's, your first relationship, and from what I understand, the baby in the womb can knows the mom's voice is different than other people's voices and things like that. So you literally are, connected throughout your whole life and from the very beginning. And it is tough. I can speak to this a little bit when you have a difficult relationship with your mom, because again, it's sort of the expectation I think I always had was that I would have this close, loving, comforting nourishing relationship with my mom, and I didn't. And so I was kind of like, well, what's wrong with me? And why is this happening to me? This doesn't really seem fair. Whereas I think there are all different kinds of moms and all different kinds of closeness that you can have with a mom. And even in the same family, you know, there can be differences and stuff. So, but yeah, I thought it was funny what you said when somebody says they have a great dad and you're just like, wow, congrats.
You're one of the lucky ones.
My friend Ben, when we were in high school, he said all dads are assholes and all moms are crazy.
I had a crazy dad, so no, I think our whole family's crazy. So
yeah,
when somebody, do you ever like tell a story and to you're telling like a hilarious story, and then you see the faces of the people you're telling the story to begin to grow with concern of like, are you okay? I feel like I've had moments like that talking about our family where then I'm like, oh, this isn't like a normal family thing. Cool. It's just for me.
Well, I kind of had that when I remember being a little kid and going over to other people's houses and being like, oh, this is different. This is not, this is not what I'm used to. This is kind of nice.
I think everybody likes each other here. That's crazy.
They're not being sarcastic or anything.
But sometimes people hide it really well, I guess.
Oh, that's true. I mean, you never know what's going on in anybody's relationship. So yeah, things can look really, really good on the outside.
Sometimes I'll watch like true crime stuff and it'll be like, oh, this child killed their parents. And the narrator will be like, they had a great family life. And I'm like, okay. Did they? Like, I mean, I'm sure it's happened in history that somebody's had perfect parents and yet, you know, kid turns out to be a murderer. I'm sure it has happened. But like, something has to have gone wrong, right? You as an outsider can't be like, we don't know what happened. Their parents were perfect. Like,
right.
Could they be perfect if they were murdered? Not victim blaming. I'm just saying those things don't add up to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think there were probably signs before the murder happened.
Yeah. And I just feel like I had one time just this one girl that I kind of knew from school. Her family looked like a perfect family to me. And then one time she just revealed all this shit to me. And I was like, I felt like, oh, I've got no problems, actually. Like, and so like, this is crazy. So yeah, you never know.
Mm-hmm. Nope, you never know. So it's better not to judge.
And I think it's good to
be jealous.
Yeah. And I mean, I think if somebody's got a tough relationship with their parent, those feelings are valid. I also think there could be, like you said, love that just looks different. Like mm-hmm. There's like ideals we have of like mom and dads and stuff. And I think your parent could not look like the ideal and still have been a good parent. I'm not saying like everybody. I think some people genuinely, you got bad luck. But I'm just saying like, I feel like there's a way that at least American culture presents like your mom made you flapjacks and bacon every day. Your dad played catch with you and stuff. And like those things could have not happened and love could just look different.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Yeah, it's anyway, so it can be a really tough holiday, but I'm having a nice one today. So
I'm glad.
Thank you very much.
You know what's a good Mother's Day movie? Beau is Afraid.
Oh no.
I told my friend today that we were doing like recording today, and she was like, "Oh, you're doing like Mother's Day movies?" And I was like, "No, but what would those be?" And I thought, "Oh, Beau is Afraid would be a good one."
Oh man. And there's that movie Mother with the exclamation mark that I haven't seen and I refuse to see.
I've heard about a scene in it, and it made me go, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't ever need to see that.
No interest.
I like Beau is Afraid. I mean, on
Me
the
too.
whole, I think I like it more than I don't like it.
It's been running in my head.
Yeah, it lingers for sure.
I think if anybody's... Oh, have you seen it? I haven't seen it yet.
No.
I know what we got to watch.
Yep. We got to make sure we've got the whole canon.
Yes. I love Ari Aster. I think, well, Jose, if you've got, if you know a narcissist, or perhaps had the unfortunate life experience of maybe having one in your very close family, you should watch Beau is Afraid, because I think it's like, I feel like it just hits different. Like I was showing some scenes to Alan, and I'm not saying he doesn't have people like that in his life, but I think maybe not to the degree I experienced. And there were some scenes where I was just like laughing my ass off, and he kind of was like, okay. And I'm like, this is so true.
That's funny. If I'm ever dating again, maybe that'll be a litmus test. Like,
oh, you want to know what my childhood was like? Do you have 3 hours?
Are you horrified by this? Does this seem pretty normal? Oh my God. Yeah, that is quite a film, I have to say. But really good.
Can I tell you one? This is one such story, is really quick. One that maybe I would tell like, haha, isn't this crazy? And I think somebody would go, you need help. Okay, slight spoilers. Just pause for real quick or skip a little bit if you have not seen Beau is Afraid. But the scene where, it's revealed that the therapist has been in on it, and, his mom is like, oh, and listen to what you said about me this time. I had a moment like that where my therapist told Dad things I had said, and in therapy, with the therapist present, he said, so why were you lying about me in therapy? And
like, wow.
So that scene really meant a lot to me, where I was like, yeah, this would be horrible.
This completely fictional situation.
Never happened to anybody.
I know, she was a bad therapist. I remember.
Oh my God.
I remember her. She was terrible.
A friend recommended that practice to me a few years ago, but I checked and I was like, nope. I recognize one person here, and I will not be going here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, just because you're a therapist doesn't mean you're good at your job. Just like if you're a teacher doesn't mean you're good at your job or anything else. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, what a disappointment that was. And a child psychologist.
You'd hope the best ones would be. I have a friend, a childhood friend, who is now a therapist for children. And one time she was like talking about her job and being like, oh, I hope I'm doing a good job. And I was like, I'll tell you what, you can't be worse than this person. So I'm sure you're doing a great job. There's a bar. You've already exceeded it. So.
Yeah. Definitely. That's a good perspective to have sometimes. Like sometimes I used to worry about my teaching performance, and there's somebody and I would always be afraid of being fired because the environment is really toxic where I work. And so there's just a lot of fear and not a lot of communication. And, in that environment, you just kind of make up the worst possible scenario in your head. But there's somebody who's definitely like objectively like a bad teacher. And he's in no danger of being fired. So that always sort of gave me a little bit of comfort.
You're good.
Like, I'm fine.
Top marks, actually.
In comparison. Yeah.
It's amazing what our anxieties tell us. Like,
oh boy.
Same friend I was talking to today was telling me about a coworker she had. At one point, she goes, "He's not like us," and she meant like this guy is not good at his job. It's just does things that are unfathomable to me. Where I'm like, even when I tell myself like I'm quiet quitting, like I'm like not doing a good job, I'm still like I just don't have it in me to. I'm not trying to be like, oh my God, I'm so perfect, you guys. I mean it more in like a detrimental way, where I'm like, to me, I'm like, and I didn't work overtime today. Checkmate. Like, good for you.
I think some people are just like built like that. I'm built like that too. Like, I feel like if I'm not killing myself, I'm not doing a good job. And that's just wrong. It's okay not to, be busy all the time with work.
And it kind of depressed me, and it also kind of liberated me when I realized like, oh, people don't have the same expectations for me that I do for me. Like, they are not expecting great things of me that I am feeling the need to meet,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely. I have the same thing, like, I mean, I really do feel like unless you like took all your clothes off and like were like spewing like anti-Semitic stuff or like,
you're safe.
I feel like you get away with so much. Not that I'm trying to get away with so much. I'm just saying nobody's watching me. Nobody cares as long as the kids like stay in their seats and learn something. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I'm just like, if they don't know social contract theory inside and out, I've really done a terrible
I'm
job.
fucked.
When I had like 1 week to teach it, and half of the class was absent that day, so anyways, but
you know who was great at his job?
Angus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Up until the very end.
Well, he is Scottish.
What?
I was thinking, I've been listening to this book, This House Will Feed. It's about the Irish potato famine. And like, I don't know a lot about the UK, clearly. I've really only engaged with media. But I did not really realize the scope of like the prejudice within the UK towards like Irish and Scottish people. And then I noticed it, I feel like in this movie where I'm like, it even exists here where I feel like the Scottish character is kind of made a fool of and is evil at the end.
I was not thinking about that at all, but yeah, there's like some comment at some point. Well, judging by his accent, it was
like, well, hold up,
over at the inn. Like, okay,
chill out,
sir. Just relax a little bit. Well, this week, Wohos, we're doing weird horror, and I guess I should confess at this point that I've been sort of pilfering ideas from this YouTuber, Daniel, on the Cobwebs channel. So shout out to Daniel on the Cobwebs channel. He watches old vintage, horror and other stuff. And he had a whole category of weird horror films. Let's see. He had Keeper on the list, which was only a rental. and these two films that we're looking at today. And so the one that I'm going to talk about is called The Lair of the White Worm, which I have to say is pretty weird.
It earned its title.
This is a short plot summary from IMDb. When an archaeologist uncovers a strange skull in a foreign land, the residents of a nearby town begin to disappear, leading to further inexplicable occurrences. I would not have written that.
Yeah, no,
It was directed by Ken Russell. The screenplay is by Ken Russell, based on The Lair of the White Worm by Bram Stoker. It stars Amanda Donohoe, Hugh Grant, Catherine Oxenberg, Peter Capaldi, Sammy Davis, and Stratford Johns. The cinematography is by Dick Bush, edited by Peter Davies, music by Stanislaus Sirowicz. And it was shown at the Montreal Film Festival on the 29th of August, 1988, and released in the US on the 21st of October, 1988, and released in the UK on the 10th of March, 1989. And it has a running time of 93 minutes. How did you feel about this runtime, Mac?
Pretty good. This one and the next movie we'll do. I was happy because I know we just talked a lot about Beau is Afraid. That, folks, that is a 3-hour long movie. You know how I feel about movie length. So actually watching 2 movies for the price of one, it felt like I was like, this is amazing.
You're like, what am I going to do with all my free time?
I know, like, oh, is it over already?
Oh, I guess I should give a trigger warning for sexual assault.
It's pretty crazy. I would say rare also depiction of like predatory woman of like
on
older woman on a child. That you don't see that often.
Yeah, it was pretty disturbing, especially the kiss.
Yes.
So, yeah, I didn't care for that at all. All right. So Angus Flint is a Scottish archaeology student excavating the site of a convent at Mercy Farm, a Derbyshire bed and breakfast run by the Trent sisters, Mary and Eve. He unearths an unusual skull, which appears to be that of a large snake. Angus believes it is connected to the local legend of the Dampton worm, a mythical snake-like creature from ages past, said to have been slain in Stonerig Cavern by John Dampton, the ancestor of the current lord of the manor, James Dampton, played by Hugh Grant.
My gosh, Hugh Grant and Peter Capaldi
is played by Peter Capaldi.
They are so young. They're so young.
Both in their like late 20s, early 30s.
Amazing.
Yeah. So cute. So James is invited. So Angus is invited to this party. He's sort of like forced to go because he has to like be the ride for the chaperone for these two girls. And it's an interesting party. There's this sort of like folk music going on that is telling of the worm lore. What's on offer for food is pickled earthworms and aspic, which is the local specialty, apparently.
And like tentacles are coming out of one dish, like nasty stuff.
And there's sort of old-timey dancing going on, not very 80s at all, and James is sort of acting out slaying the white worm, which is this huge puppet that is wending its way on the dance floor. So very interesting party. On the way home, Mary tells Angus the story of her parents' disappearance a year ago and the death of her boyfriend on a motorbike. So Angus kisses her.
That scene is so amazing. He's like, so you've got nobody to protect you? And she's like, if you're asking if I've got a boyfriend, the answer's no. Killed himself on a bike. And then he kisses her. So romantic.
Ernie, the local constable, comes by with the pocket watch that was found in Stone Rig Cavern, a pocket watch that belonged to the father. And he goes to check on some lights and activity over at Lady Sylvia Marsh's temple house and is bitten by a snake.
I love the way this guy looks. He's like, he could be drawn so easily. Like, he's got such a face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really does. Lady Sylvia Marsh sucks out the venom, but you may have noticed she doesn't spit it out or anything. She just sort of wipes her mouth after she sucks out the venom. And the next day, she steals the skull from Mary and Eve's farm. And there's this forced perspective of the skull in the foreground. And when she sees it, she crawls on her knees, which kind of makes her, sway side to side as she's going to get the skull. And she picks it up and then she goes into the hallway and spits venom on the crucifix hanging there and takes off. And as she's taking off, Eve and James return.
This is perfect casting. Like, this woman looks kind of like a snake. And her like body movements, like even when she's doing hand acting, it's like when she's gripping a goblet, her hands look like claws. Like, I don't know. She's just, she is the total highlight of this movie to me.
Yeah. I would agree to that. That's Amanda Donahoe or Donahue. I'm not sure how you say her name. And I guess she became popular or famous because she was dating Adam Ant and she appeared in a couple of his music videos. And so that sort of put her out there on the world stage. Eve and James return, and Eve finds a note saying that in light of the discovery of her father's pocket watch, a search party has been formed. And she goes upstairs and she touches the venom on the crucifix and has a vision of a snake encircling Christ on the cross and nuns being raped by Roman soldiers. When she pulls out the pocket watch from her pocket, the arms of the watch are in the shape of a snake. This freaks Eve out and she recounts her vision to James. James shows her the mosaic of the snake wrapped around a cross in the backyard, which we hadn't seen before this moment. So
I love this guy. He's so dedicated to like, well, let's face your fears head on. She's like talking about those horrible visions she had. And he's like, well, let me show you this snake mosaic. But he's like, it's really coming from a good place. He's like, you should just look. It's just a mosaic. It's fine.
Yeah, it can't hurt you. And then we have the scene with Kevin, the boy. He's dressed up like a Boy Scout and he's on his way to the youth hostel. But he gets picked up by Lady Sylvia and she takes him home. And they play Snakes and Ladders. Kevin plays a folk song on his harmonica. She's like, how about some music? And he whips up the harmonica. She gives him a bath because it was pouring down rain when she picked him up. And then at one point she asks him to stand up and we think she's going to give him a blowjob, but she actually bites him with her fangs, paralyzing him. And she monologues about dying, about how it's going to be such a great honor for him, the virgin, to die at the hands of Dionin, the snake god. And she's going on and monologuing, and then the doorbell goes off and she goes, oh shit. And so she kind of pushes Kevin under the water and we never hear of Kevin again.
I kind of like this scene. Like, it is disturbing, but I feel like I don't know. I think a lot of movies have the tendency to depict like this sort of like predatory behavior of woman on young boy as like a cool or funny thing, but it always feels sinister to me, like in this movie. Like he's doomed when she picks him up, and like it's just like uncomfortable, but I feel like that's how it should feel. It should be like, this is awful, you know, what she's like predating on this kid and like, you know, killing him. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
it was unsettling in a good way.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah. I hadn't thought of it like that, but yeah, if it would have been played for, I mean, it is played for laughs a little bit,
But
but
the whole thing is kind of like, even
yeah.
like, you know, Eve, her vision is kind of crazy. And like, I feel like you're not supposed to be like, oh my, like, it's kind of like, this is wild.
So it's James who's rung the doorbell, and they have some strange banter. He asks her, he sees the Snakes and Ladders game, and he says, "Do you have children?" And she says, "Only when there are no men around."
Yikes.
And she quotes an Oscar Wilde line, "Losing one parent is tragic. Losing two verges on carelessness," or something like that. And he's like, "Well, this is hardly appropriate that you should be making jokes like that." But I don't know if there's anything else to say about that scene. Did you?
I think I like their chemistry, and I feel I was surprised that this actress is 2 years, I think, younger than Hugh Grant,
Mm-hmm.
because I think she does a good job at playing a lot older, and I liked that dynamic between them. That it felt like, you know, like I just don't feel like you see that as much. Like, and she's technically not older than him, but I think that's the vibe we're supposed to get, and I
Uh-huh.
thought that was an interesting vibe.
Yeah. That night, James's dream is that he's on an airplane and Eve, Mary, and Sylvia are flight attendants. And there's some other weird stuff that happens, like Sylvia has him strapped down to his seat and she's trying to pour this liquid into his mouth. And the parents of Mary and Eve are on the plane, also tied up.
You know, these scenes don't do a lot for me. Like, certainly they are weird, but I feel like I was kind of getting lost while watching them. Like, I was kind of like, uh-oh, I'm checking my watch.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not really clear, like, why the parents should be on the plane or, you know, why there's this dream sequence at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally get that. James, Mary, Eve, and Angus go to Stone Rig Cavern, which James's butler, Peters, told him was believed to be the lair of the Dampton worm. I guess that's the point. He has, like, he sees the painting in his room, and then he has a dream that he goes into the cavern, and then he comes upon this airplane. So I guess that's the whole point of all that. James has a theory that the worm ate the girl's father and the watch passed through the worm undigested.
This is also where I just start to feel like the characterization of everybody is so odd, because you'd think Eve and Mary would have the most reason to be searching for their parents and figuring out what happened, but they almost seem to be like, let's leave. Like, we don't want to be here. Whereas the guys are like, yeah, it's cold. It's like, you're orphans now. Like, it brought me out of the movie because I was like, why do these guys care more about this than you two?
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's a typical, like, women, they're crazy. They're stupid. Like, this movie thinks women are this either, you know, virgins or whores, and that they're stupid or they're evil. Like, not great.
No, not at all. Lady Sylvia runs into Eve and puts a spell on her. Sylvia monologues about Eve worshiping her false god centuries before. And this is a very uncomfortable scene. Again, Lady Sylvia is lying on a tanning bed on her tummy. And she's talking about how Diana has a propensity for virgins. And she's got this conical shaped thing that I guess she sticks up yeah. Um, I wrote here, Sylvia determines Eve is a virgin and says she will be sacrificed and that she has to call Mary with an alibi. But it's all pretty uncomfortable. I was just like, yikes.
Yikes.
Eve has a ring with a crucifix on it, and it protects her momentarily, but Lady Sylvia sprays her with venom. Mary, James, and Angus try to puzzle out the clues. And then James has this plan to draw out Lady Sylvia with snake charmer music. So he blasts music from these speakers at the roof of his house over to her house, and it actually works. She does this snake dance all the way across the floor, and then she leaves her house. Mary and Angus sneak into Lady Sylvia's house. Mary sees her mother watching an erotic snake video. But the mother attacks Mary, and Angus chases her off with a piece of firewood. Chases the mother off. Mary goes into a trance until Angus sucks out the venom, and this time we do see him spit it into a glass.
Oh.
James cuts Mary's mom in half, but not before she kills Peters.
Poor Peters.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. Although the actor's delivery of the lines is so weird.
It's very bizarre. I kind of like, is he evil?
Yeah. He's always kind of like sort of whispering his lines, and he's got this faraway look in his eyes. And I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I feel like this movie tries a little bit too hard to make Hugh Grant like not an evil guy when again, it takes me out because I'm like, okay, he's Lord of a Manor. This guy should be an asshole. Like, it makes no sense for him to be gallant, actually. And it's not even in like it's subverted my expectations kind of way. It's just like, he's just like a pretty English guy and he literally does nothing wrong. And, I don't know. It's just kind of like, what's the purpose of you?
Yeah. That's hard to say. Ernie comes by to get Mary to identify the body of the mother. And Mary catches on that he is under the spell of Lady Sylvia. But then Angus starts playing the bagpipes, which draws Ernie away.
That was funny.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, he's got these red eyes and these fangs, and he comes up through this grating along with a lot of other snakes that are like drawn to the bagpipes.
And why does Angus have to wear like the most stereotypical like Scottish garb? Like, it just, I guess every Scottish guy knows how to play the bagpipes.
That's what I was thinking. Because I always like to see when actors play musical instruments, like just to see if I can tell if they're actually playing the instrument or not. And he was not.
No way.
Which is fine. I think it's a pretty complicated instrument and everything. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. It must be the case that all Scottish men know how to play bagpipes. Ernie is killed on that snake-shaped thingy. And then I wrote, what is it?
It's just there to kill him.
Yeah, it's just this thing growing out of this stone plinth. And I'm like, is it to like tie up a horse? Like, I don't know what it is. But anyway, whatever that thing is, Ernie is killed on that through the eye. Angus continues playing bagpipes. He injects himself and lets the mongoose loose. And then I wrote, where did the mongoose come from?
They're like pretty savage creatures, I hear. So he just had this in his pocket, like a whole ass mongoose. He's also like an animal master. Like, yes. He's a beast tamer. Like all Scottish people.
Lady Sylvia Marsh is all blue now. She throws the dead mongoose at Angus. She was wearing earplugs. She bites Angus on his knee. Then Mary and Eve are tied up in the basement. I don't know.
Yeah, where is this?
I don't know. It's somewhere in the cavern. Lady Sylvia Marsh monologues about Diana, and it's kind of cool. Like, the god of the darkness makes the darkness safe for us, or I don't know. And he is the darkness, and blah, blah, blah. And she's wearing that conic thing as a strap on now.
And there, this, I also side-eye because they made some comment about hermaphrodites earlier in the movie. Right. And I'm just like,
yeah, apparently some snakes are hermaphroditic.
And they're like, oh, it's the best of both worlds. Like, okay, guys.
The snake is free and at the bottom of the cavern. Angus wakes up finally and slices off Lady Sylvia Marsh's hand, so she falls into the snake's mouth. He saves Eve and blows up the snake with a grenade. All the while, James leads a crew to investigate the Stone Rig Caverns from above the lair.
Okay, here's another thing. She's hanging on to Eve, who's dangling from the rope, and they're hovering over the pit with the snake. He's cutting off Lady Sylvia's hand, and she holds on with that hand but lets the other hand go, and then he finally cuts through. Now, how does that make sense? Like, I think after a certain point you'd have to like flex your hand, but she lets the non-cut hand go first. I'm like, okay, why? It'd be more dramatic if then he had to reach over and like
funny.
Cut the, yeah, it's bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
But she looked great.
Angus uses an anti-venom serum he acquired earlier from the local hospital to prevent Lady Sylvia's bite from affecting him. After Eve and Mary are taken to the hospital for evaluation, Angus visits with James. Their meeting is interrupted by a phone call from a nurse at the hospital who informs Angus that the anti-venom serum he received was actually an arthritis medicine. Horrified, Angus examines his face in a mirror. Moments later, Angus accepts James's invitation for a lunch celebration. In the car, Angus sinisterly smiles before revealing the bite wound on his leg.
Can't trust him.
Well, what phobia is that? Ophidiophobia is an intense, irrational, and often debilitating fear of snakes. And scolectophobia is the intense, irrational fear of worms. Yeah, I don't like them.
Me neither. I don't want to see them. I like earthworms, but maggots, no thanks.
Yeah, no thanks. Blah. Here's some more trivia. The skull of the pagan god Diana used in the movie was constructed by adding sculpted sections to a real cow skull. The original teeth were pulled and replaced with fabricated ones to simulate the serpent look. The Dampton worm is an obvious reference to the Lambton worm, which is a real English legend dating back at least to the medieval period. In a 1999 interview with the AV Club, Hugh Grant recalled that Ken Russell would, following a rather liquid lunch, direct him using language like, "Do it how I showed you, you fucking cunt."
Oh, no.
The cave used for the cave scenes is Thor's Cave, also known as Thor's House Cavern and Theris's Cave, a natural cavern located in the Manifold Valley of the White Peak in the Peak District National Park near Staffordshire, England. At one point, Lord Dampton is at Lady Marsh's door and remarks, "You're not in the book." It's a tongue-in-cheek reference to the Bram Stoker source material, which she is not a part of. In context, he's referring to the phone book.
Oh, wait, so she's not even a character in the book? That's kind of crazy.
Guess not. Tilda Swinton was originally cast as Lady Sylvia Marsh, but she turned it down, and Amanda Donahue was cast instead. And my favorite piece of trivia, Peter Capaldi and Hugh Grant both appeared in Paddington 2 from 2017.
Reunited and it feels so good.
They must have worked together in the interim.
Surely. I mean, they're both decorated actors.
Yeah. You would think. Briefly, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? Kate gave it a half star. Only watched because it was on the lesbian vampire movie list. Really bad.
Gross misplacement of this movie to put it on a lesbian vampire movie list. That's almost offensive to me.
Yes. Aaron Liz 05 gave it a half star. This is what we call a fever dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. LJB, not LBJ, gave it a half star. Boring and scary. Which is an interesting review. One of those. Rewatched by Max, who gave it 5 stars. Very interesting. I love 80s design and how amazingly fashionable they always are.
Always are is crazy to say. That's an amazing review.
I thought you'd like that one. Nick gave it 5 stars. Funny and freaky. And Katie gave it 5 stars. Praying to Dianan for a good grade on this paper I'm writing.
Well, do you have any virgins to sacrifice? Because he ain't listening otherwise.
And I thought about that too. I guess Dianan is not going to be satisfied with Lady Sylvia.
Yeah.
Since she's not a virgin.
So what's he going to do?
Well,
he's now in Peter Capaldi, I guess.
Yeah. Well, how would we rate this? How about in terms of snake skulls? Oh, boy.
3?
Yeah, I think it's in the 3 to 4 range for me. 3.25 maybe. I didn't love this movie. I watched it twice, and it was more fun the second time. I do have to say that.
Okay.
I think if I had seen this in 1988, maybe I would love it, but I don't love it. And I don't think it doesn't fit together very well. It's just a series of scenes, and things don't add up. And
yeah, it's like so weird because I see how it's a cult classic, and yet I'm like, why would anybody love? It's like, I get why they would, and yet I feel no such affinity for it at all. And maybe I just wasn't in the right frame of mind, but it has everything. I mean, besides like the assault, I'm not saying that's something I'm interested in, but like got 2 great actors who I love. I like the concept of a female villain. I like B movies. I like weird stuff. And yet it just didn't come together for me.
Mm-hmm. I think if you were high as fuck, this could be a really good time.
I think it would freak me out.
Yeah, some of the visions that the girls have are definitely pretty freaky.
I would say those, in a way, they were so disturbing that was kind of a highlight. I was like, yeah, this would really freak me out if I had one such vision. This is really upsetting to witness. And not even in like a bad, like, in a horror movie way, I'm cool with it. And yet it still didn't hit for me.
Yeah. What have we learned?
Don't be a virgin. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't trust Scottish people.
Oh gosh.
They'll let
I
you
was
down
going to
in the
say,
end.
don't dig up your backyard looking for artifacts.
Lock your doors. She just waltzed right into that.
know.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. I thought about that too. I'm like, well, I mean, they kind of
Small
deserve
town.
it. She just was able to walk right in, take that skull. Would we watch it again? No.
No. I don't think I would.
Favorite scene and or kill?
I mean, honestly, any scene with Lady Sylvia, I do think she was amazing. And here's another thing. I think if you are, no offense, straight men, don't get on me. If you are a straight guy who is one of the ones who has no critical thinking about how women are treated, I bet you'd love this movie. You'd be like, oh my God, the women are so sexy. Like, she does look hot, and her boobs are in quite a few scenes. And I think if you aren't thinking about anything else, you'd be like, this movie fucking rocks, dude. So.
Yeah. I would say any scene with Peter Capaldi in it. I just really loved him.
He's great.
Sweet, sweet baby. Who wins the You Fool Award?
I think got to be even Mary for not locking them doors.
Yeah.
And Peter Capaldi, I guess, for not double checking.
Yeah.
The antidote.
Yeah, he was so cocky. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm sure it's all right.
But no, Angus, no.
No.
Well, that was The Lair of the White Worm.
Amazing. Now, I like this movie.
Oh.
You know, it has some problems I'll bring up, but I like it.
Okay.
All right.
Can your voice get any higher? Maybe. All right. Well, that makes one of us.
Oh. Well, let's get into it. Wojos, our second weird movie is Together. Here's the short plot summary from IMDb. Years into their relationship, Tim and Millie find themselves at a crossroads as they move to the country. With tensions already flaring, an encounter with an unnatural force threatens to corrupt their lives, their love, and their flesh. It was directed and written by Michael Shanks. It stars Dave Franco and Allison Brie, real-life couple. Cinematography by Jermaine McMicking, edited by Sean Laheef, and music by Cornell Wilczek. It was released January 26, 2025 at Sundance, July 30th, 2025 in the US, and July 31st, 2025 in Australia, with a runtime of 102 minutes. Love this runtime. There was a moment where I paused and I went, wow, there's only like 30 minutes left. Okay. Still dragged a little bit, but I think it was pretty snappy. So let's get into it. We have an intro where there's a man opening up a barn door, and well, first we see, and I did like this, already knowing kind of what the movie was about. I could guess where the scene was going, but we just have all these like poignant shots of like a Doberman and I don't know what kind of dog this is, but the only way I can describe it is they found two dogs that they were like, this one's the boy dog and this one's the girl dog. Like, you could just tell. Like I think a Doberman, I don't know dogs, but the female dog, she had like ears that kind of looked like hair, black and white. And there were just a lot of scenes where they were looking at each other really significantly. And then a man opens up a barn door and the dogs are fused. Also, I didn't realize this was a search party. I kind of was just focusing on the dogs. I was like, those dogs are going to be fused at some point, is what I thought. And then they were.
Well,
There's
that's
a
just
lot
sort
that
of the
happens.
background, that there's the search parties just going on in the background.
Okay. Well, it's so amazing. I didn't even like remember that. I was just so like that's Dave Franco and Alison Brie. Now going into this, let me tell you my history with Alison Brie and Dave Franco. Dave Franco, I think, is our answer to the issue of how do we have James Franco in movies when he's such a dirty creep bag? You get his younger brother, Dave Franco. Now, was James Franco a good actor? I don't know. Is Dave Franco a good actor? No. But is he charming? Kind of. Is Alison Brie a good actress? Kind of. Better than Dave Franco. Does that make her good? This movie made me ponder that question. I've always been a fan of her, but after this movie, I was like, is she a good actress? And listen, this is no offense to Ms. Alison Brie. I like Community. Alan reminded me of that one horror movie she was in where with Molly Shannon. I liked that.
Horse Girl?
Yes, I thought that was good.
That was good.
I don't think I've watched many other things, but I think she's enjoyable to watch. And yet, and I've this is like, again, no offense to them, but I do feel like if they weren't married in real life, you got to wonder how good the chemistry would be on screen, considering that they're both not great actors. So that, thank God, I guess, that they are. But it's a struggle sometimes watching this. It ends up being comical in a way because they're so bad. Do you agree? Like, am I wrong?
I didn't have a problem with their performances. That was not my problem with this film.
Dave Franco, there's a lot of there's a lot of that from him. But he's so handsome.
If I were to watch it again, I'd probably notice that stuff. I only gave this one pass.
That's fair. Well, they're having a going away party. Tim, we can tell something has happened. He's apparently not the same as he once was. He is no longer in this band, but he's talking to his former bandmates, I think, or just friends who do music. And, he's kind of doing solo stuff now, but, and they're saying like, dude, you got to get on a label, as if it's so easy. And he's like, yeah, I guess I do. Meanwhile, Millie is talking to her friend who's just basically like, break up with him, which is kind of like, well, we're about to move across the country. So, but, there's clearly something weird going on here. I like this scene. Like, there's a scene in the beginning where he's flipping through these records and he comes across a photo of his parents. And then Millie comes in and she's like, by the way, everybody thinks it's so cute that we're matching. And they are like, they're both wearing white shirts and like she's wearing a jean skirt. He's got jeans on, but his reaction is kind of like, oh, great. Yeah. That's awesome. So, I've never been in such a relationship where one person is, the breadwinner. I'm not like, it's kind of hard to believe that a teacher could be like a breadwinner, especially I don't remember where they're moving, but hey, at least in North Carolina, growing up, here's a North Carolina canon experience. If you went to public school, I guarantee you had at least one teacher who said, and you all have to know, teaching is so horrible in this state and I don't get paid anything. You hear that a lot and you go, oh no. And we're like, at the bottom of the country, which is such a shame because I had so many great teachers growing up. So anyways, all that to say, teachers not historically known to make a lot of money. So you're kind of like, how? But okay, I'll still go along with the movie. Because at first I didn't understand. I was like, oh, she must have a great job. Like doctors can get jobs in under, you could move to Alaska and make a lot of money because they can't get people to move there. Can the same be said for public school teachers? I don't know. But anyways, so there's just this idea brought up that, Tim is kind of emasculated in a way by, having to go along with Millie. Then to add a cherry on top, she proposes to him at the going away party. And he's kind of like, looks at her like, are you joking? And she's not. So that's awkward. And he's like, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. But they end up not being engaged. So that night, Millie brings up like, do you even want to do this? And he's kind of like, oh, it's a little, like, in his point of view, he's like, obviously I want to go with you. It'd be, be a little bit late if I didn't want to, which also is not a great answer. And you've written Chekhov saw. There's something I should say. There's a dream Tim has in the middle of the night, where he hears Millie say like, can you tell them to stop staring? Like, I can't sleep with them staring. I liked this part a lot. And good. He looks up. Yeah. And there's like a face looking at him, just illuminated in the darkness. And there's like a shot with like, they're kind of like, both at the same sides or like opposite sides of the bed. And then he wakes up, so they move. He finds a saw. And so, yeah, okay, there's probably going to be a saw later. If you watch the preview, their skin melds. So, you can do the math. He smells something weird and he goes to like this, like a ceiling light. A beautiful house, by the way. Like in the stairs, there's like this beautiful stained glass. I was like, again, I don't know how she bought this house with the teacher salary, but good for her. And yeah, he pulls out like, they call it like a rat king, like all these rats who have died with their tails, like, and they're at various stages of decay, so they weren't able to break free. There's one that's still kind of alive, very gross. So, a lot of themes getting brought up of unhealthy attachments, perhaps. So we meet Millie's coworker at her new job, who's this, just nice. I mean, you can look at this guy and he's going to be evil, but he's nice to her in the moment. And, they just kind of have, it almost seems a little bit flirtatious. But then, she brings up that she has a partner, and that's kind of awkward because she's like, oh, a boyfriend feels so immature. I guess he's my like boy partner or something like that. Which, okay, quick story. Okay. Growing up, in high school, I always wanted a boyfriend. I wanted one. I did not get one. But that was a hope and dream of mine. Then I got so lucky to meet Alan. So I had a boyfriend, a great one at 18. And so the word boyfriend to me was always like, I want that. I want a boyfriend. And then like 2 years into college, I'm like doing as you do, meeting people to try to make friends. And I talked to this girl. And she's like, oh, are you like, we're just discussing our lives. And I was like, oh yeah, I have a boyfriend of like 2 years. And she's like, boyfriend? Isn't that so immature? And I was so offended. I was like, no, it's not. it's great, actually. Not all of us can get boyfriends, but when we do, we're really excited about them. She's like, well, this is my partner. I was like, oh, good for you. Your partner. Yeah, I don't care. I don't mind the word boyfriend. I'm still in the realm of like, hell yes, I have a boyfriend. Lucky me. So, but I guess that's embarrassing when you get old enough. And I mean, Alison Brie and Dave Franco in real life are in their 40s. So maybe if you're 40, saying boyfriend is not the move. So, there's just, I just think this movie's kind of sloppy because it's like you're reading the script. It's like you've read the script and it says details to show us how they feel about their relationship. It's not smooth. It's pretty telegraphed. They go on a hike. We see some ominous bells with like a swirly symbol. I guess like the Rat King. I didn't put that together until right now. It's raining. They get lost. This is kind of a cute, like, funny scene. It does make you wonder, what the fuck is Tim bringing to this relationship? Because the man is useless. No offense, but they get lost. He pulls up his compass and he's like, well, that way's north. And like, she's like, okay. And he's like, I don't know. I thought you'd know what to do with that. And so, they're just like the blind leading the blind, and then they fall into an underground cavern. Tim drinks water from this pond and tries to build a fire. Millie laughs at him. And, he's like, remember we used to watch Man vs. Wild? And she's like, I did, you didn't. So she builds the fire, and then they share water from the pond. Hey, guys, don't do this.
No.
Please. Never. Please never drink water from a pond. I can't. Like, he drinks it, doesn't like immediately cough up blood, and he's like, it's fine.
Yeah. I know.
Nope.
I was like, oh, bad move.
It's like the worst thing you could do. So, and now, okay, here's a part of the movie I enjoy, kind of. She brings up, like, how did you even smell the rat? And he tells the story that every day his dad would come into his room and say, like, what is this god awful smell? And he couldn't find anything. And then on like the third day, his dad found a dead rat in his light fixture, which had been like baked by the heat of the light. And that, that was a really traumatic thing for him, and that it reminded him of his parents' death, which we learned he walked in on. His dad was lying there dead. So now we get context for the scene in the beginning of the nightmare he had. And his mom was just looking at him lying in the bed next to this, her dead husband. So, he'd been much like that as a kid. He'd been living with this dead thing. His mom was living with this dead thing, her husband.
Right.
And I find this very interesting. It's giving Midsummer, finding your parent dead. I can't imagine how horrible that would be. Just losing a parent is horrible. Finding them dead and rotted, horrible. And I wish that, like, the way Millie treats his mental illness would be explored more, because he's not a great boyfriend. Let's get that clear. He's not great. I don't think he's bringing much to the relationship. The man needs to be in therapy. At the same time, I do feel like the movie is getting me to care about this guy's mental health, but it's never explored that. I don't feel like she's obviously at the end of her rope. I'm not saying that she should even be the one to help him. She shouldn't. He needs therapy. But the fact that that's never brought up, I feel like it'd be interesting. And it is interesting that she's not, I don't feel like that receptive to the things he's going through. I mean, it makes sense that this guy's got no direction, I think, with having withstood such a traumatic thing. Of course, he wouldn't be the same person. But it's just kind of accepted that she's just like, be better. And
yeah, I think she's pretty awful.
Yeah, she's not great.
I really don't think that there's a lot to recommend her character at all. At one point she says something like, you've been kind of distant ever since, and of course he has been. And yeah, that makes complete sense. But she's upset that he won't have sex with her. And when they get into a fight or they get a little closer and it's kind of nice for a minute, and she like inevitably says something nasty to him. Some things are really mean that she says to him, so I don't know why he's with her,
Yeah.
I mean, except I don't think that he doesn't have anything else going on.
Yeah, but she's not there for him, I think. I mean, which I find interesting. I think that is something that could be explored. Like, I think that makes it, like, if she was a perfect character, that wouldn't be that interesting. The fact that she is mean, it's like, let's dig into that. Like, that could be, like, present that as a toxic thing, but it's only presented as toxic from his end. And it is. He's a very toxic partner, but so is she. And I think that should be part of the movie.
Yeah, I wish it were a bigger part of the movie because, like, and is there something else in his personality that's objectionable? I mean, or is it just that he doesn't have a job? You know,
Yeah.
which I
He doesn't have
guess
sex
could
with
be
her.
enough. But, you know, is there anything else wrong with him? I mean, why did you get with this guy? You know, so it's a little bit confusing to me why they are together and they're both just not very nice and they're not very nice to each other.
And she's really derisive towards like his dreams. Like, I get it, you know, he's a guy approaching middle age, still looking to be a successful artist when he's already kind of failed in that regard. But like when they fall into the cavern, he realizes he can't find his phone or it's in the water. And he's like, my demos were on there. So like a dream he's actively pursuing. And she immediately makes fun of him. Like, you know, and again, you can have that, but it's kind of presented in the movie like, and she's right for saying that. It's like, is she?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Either break up or like support each other. Like you got to pick one, which I guess is the point of the movie. But then you got to wonder, is it the point with how it ends? I don't think so. So, okay. So then there's Tim has a dream / hallucination with like Millie. Like he wakes up and she's like just hyperventilating next to him. And when they wake up, their legs are kind of fused. It's like their skin is sticking together. And when they come apart, they both have this like nasty scrape. And he is like, oh, it's just mildew. Also, they're both stupid, which is
pretty dumb.
At home, Millie showered, Tim hasn't. So I don't know why she would even want a massage because he looks disgusting. But, you know, and I find this interesting, this dynamic of whatever he's gone through has made him very averse to wanting to touch or be touched. That is extremely interesting. It is, I think, a cool focal point, and yet it is still presented like he's doing something wrong. He is not. It's like, I get she's not getting fulfilled in this relationship, but however, like, can we explore why that might be? Like, if you saw rotting flesh of your dad, you might be like, skin freaks me out right now. And I think that's interesting, and yet it's still presented as like, look how he's failing her. So she wants a massage. As he's touching her, he's kind of dissociating and just ends up like pinching her skin, which is obviously horrible. And she gets hurt and she's just like, how about you shower? Like, well, yeah. I mean, he probably wanted to do that first anyway. And she just, she's like, I'm going to go into town because they don't have any food. So he's showering and she's driving the car, and we get this whole sequence where every time she turns the car, it's like he's, you know, in the back of the car getting swerved one way. And so like, you know, she's driving and like there's force being pressed on him, and is like his, you know, body's up against the tile to the point where it's cracking, you know, and he's even bleeding a little bit, and then he gets thrown back. I like that scene.
That was a pretty cool sequence. Yeah.
So he does try to go to therapy or a psychiatrist, who basically just is like, oh, you've got anxiety here. Here, I don't remember. Diazepam. Yeah. Oh, and what's the original drug? Is it Valium? Like, yeah, he's like, is this Valium? They're like, we call it diazepam now, which I thought was a funny bit. But yeah, very unhelpful. And then also we kind of get some context of like, is it the psychiatrist who tells him about the couple that went missing, which is a weird thing for a psychiatrist to do, but like, because the psychiatrist mentions like, oh, we're both the same age, more emasculation for Tim. And then we learn about there was a couple in this area who went missing. So Millie's colleague from before, Jamie, shows up at the house. Tim is wearing a hoodie that says Party State. And I like this scene a lot. I thought it was a pretty good depiction. I think we've all been there around a couple where you're like, you guys need to break up.
Yeah.
So I thought that was done really well, where like, obviously Tim doesn't really want Jamie there, but Millie has insisted that Jamie comes in, and they're just kind of being snippy with each other. And like, we find out Tim feels like he's kind of a prisoner because he can't drive, which Millie emasculates him for. And she's like, well, blah, 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 they should break up.
Definitely.
And so then Jamie leaves. They kiss later and their lips fuse, which leads to a fight because, again, Millie blames him. She's like, oh, you bit me. He's like, no, I didn't. And she doesn't believe him.
One thing before Jamie leaves, he says, it seems like you both complete each other.
Good point.
Which is sort of a way to smooth things over, but it's also very telling in terms of what we learn later.
That's a good point. So Tim, he's going to play guitar for two of his musician friends. And so Millie's driving him to the train station so that he can go, perform with them. And I like the scene a lot. It's another one of my favorite scenes. He can't get on the train. It's like there's ringing in his ear. Even when he takes the Valium, it doesn't help. It's like he's like, we see the train come and he's just still sitting there. And I like the idea, like everything on paper, I think I would like about this movie because, I've been in like codependent friendships before. I feel like I think it can be easy to fall into a codependent relationship. I think relationships, it's like, I think movies and romance novels give us a false sense of like, if you're both in love, it'll just work. And I don't think that's true. Right. I think they take hard work, and it can take hard work to not be codependent. And, for instance, when I first started college, that's a really lonely time because you don't know anybody. And, I had this new great relationship. I think a lot of times I would just decide, let me not step out of my comfort zone. I've got a great boyfriend I can go hang out with, which was great. And I'm so happy that I had that. And at the same time, I wonder, could I have pushed myself more at times? And I think a lot of people, you can fall into like, well, the only person in my life is my partner. And that is not a good idea. So I liked this scene of like, their relationship is so toxic, and yet he can't bear the thought of not having the safety of her there, which I think is very relatable. So he's, we see him, he leaves all his stuff at the station and he's just walking to the school that she works at. And he's like, this is where I kind of had some thoughts of like, Dave Franco, he's not a great actor. Cause I mean, yeah, he's doing his best and I don't hate it. I actually enjoy him and I was excited to watch him. It's like Keanu Reeves, I think, where you're like, hey, he's not great, but man, I love watching him. And that's how I feel. He walks all the way to Millie's school, which like, he's just in the playground area. She brings him into the bathroom and she's just like, what are you doing here? And he goes like, I was thirsty all over, but not now, not with you. And she's so horny for him. Yeah. So starved for it that they just have sex in the stall. Which I actually, my blinds were completely open. So I kind of like a little bit was like, I could have just closed the blinds, but I kind of was like, well, this surely won't last that long, will it? They have their little sex scene. I just felt so uncomfortable. I just was like, this is so wrong. Because like you see a kid show up at some point, like, and you're like, oh no, it's so horrible. And you know what's going to happen. Like, his dick's going to get stuck inside of her. And it does. And, now Jamie has showed up because the kid has gotten him and she like covers up his mouth. It's a great example of how she acts in this relationship. She's like, I'm sorry. And like rips him out of her. Mm-hmm. And we don't see the aftermath, but like we can see I think he did a great job here. We can see from his face that was like the worst pain he's ever felt. And so Then Jamie comes in. He stands up on the toilet, clutching his like ripped dick as she leaves. She's in the boys' bathroom. Jamie's kind of like, what the fuck are you doing in here? And she's like, just kind of like playing it off like she had her period and like couldn't, and there's a little bit of trickle of blood on her thigh. And so he's very much like, have you ever had an experience like this of talking to a man like this who's like, the women problems? Yes, no, totally understood. There was one time, it's kind of amazing. It's kind of a great get out of jail free card. I'm not like, if a woman ever tells you, or a uterus having person ever tells you they're in pain from their period, no, they are telling the truth. But I have used that in my life as like, I just can't be there. I'm having cramps. And there are certain guys who will just be like, say no more. Say no more. In fact, don't say anything. Which feels pretty great. So later, but Jamie does get a glimpse of like his foot stepping off of the toilet. And I like this because at first I'm thinking like, oh no, she's fucked. And it all begins to make sense why she's not later, which I think is great. So, Millie and Tim leave. Tim's just kind of like a little puppy dog right now, but she's really pissed off with him because she's like, not only could I have gotten fired, I could get like arrested for this. And he makes the good point of like, I didn't force you, right, to have sex. Like, takes two to tango. And she's like, oh, you don't touch me for months. And then you come in saying like, you need me. Like, what am I supposed to do? Okay. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's so messed up.
Like, you are in control of your own body. Thank you. I'm not saying what he did wasn't messed up. Like, this is my point, guys, is like, Tim's not a great guy. Millie is not a great woman.
No.
But I think the movie wants us to think she's a girl boss. That's how I felt watching it. So Jamie is their, close neighbor. So she goes over to his house to apologize again. And, I really love the way his house is decorated. And, they're having a really sweet moment where we find out he's gay, actually. And now I really didn't clock this the first time. It only dawned on me later, because when we see a photo of him and his partner, who's clearly not there, we don't know why. Mm-hmm. I guess we're supposed to wonder which one is which, but there was one guy with glasses, so I was like, oh, that's him. There's like plenty of photos in movies that are not great, so I just was like, oh, it's a blurry photo. But we're supposed to wonder, oh, who's who?
Right.
I didn't get that at first. I got it later. But he says like, oh, I was married, I was me because of him, because she's telling about how all the struggles they're going through, but he's really trying to encourage her like, well, hey, like, there was a time we were apart and, I didn't do anything. I realized I was me because of him. And so don't be so quick to give this up, which I actually think is pretty good advice. Like, I think that's the advice I would give to somebody. Like, I think if there's kind of a TikTok thing, folks, if you have like OCD, don't go on TikTok for many reasons. But one being, there's so many TikToks that are like, break up with your boyfriend, girls. Like, if he wanted to, he would. Like, stuff that will make you question your relationship when you actually might not have those problems. Like, I think I've fallen into traps where I'm like, and why didn't he just think to give me flowers today? Where it's like, is that a precedent you've set? Like,
right.
So I just to say, if you give somebody your relationship issues and they immediately go break up with him, I don't think that person's looking out for you. So, but then she sees Tim outside the window. So she's like, oh my God. So, and he's just like, I'm sorry, I didn't know what to do. Yeah, so and this is a cool effect. Like, they just begin to become magnetized. Like, even their like blood like is drawn to each other. And so, like, is this the scene at night where like?
Yeah, this is the big scene. I think earlier, like as they're walking home from Jamie's, they like interlock fingers. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is kind of like what sets it off or whatever for her.
Mm. Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
he's at night, like there's this office and he's like looking through some stuff. I think he's researching more about the couple that went missing because he realizes the coordinates are really close to the cave that they were in. But then we hear like this banging and there's this frosted glass and she's being like pushed up against it. Like her body's like drawn towards him, which is pretty creepy because he's like moving and she's like moving back and forth. And then finally, like when he opens up the door, they just like slam together like magnets. Um, and that's really traumatizing. Um, and oh, there's another scene too where like, you know, her hair is going in his throat. That was pretty gross.
Oh, that was so
Um,
gross. I have such a problem with hair. Oh
Me
my
too.
God. Oh,
um, that's why that like Dark Water movie is so
yes.
there's
Ugh. Hmm.
um so she can't stay away from him, but also, you know, drops the bomb where she goes like, I don't want you, is what she says. Also at another time she says basically to him like, you need to do better. I'm starting to feel like your mom, like I'm living with something dead.
That's the one where I was like, whoa. Now I thought this was good acting though, because she knew she was going to say it. And there's
Mm-hmm.
a moment it crosses her face where she's just like, yep, I'm going for it. And I've been there where, you can drop that bomb. You can be like super mean or turn the screw, whatever analogy you want. But you sometimes don't. Hopefully you don't say the very, very mean thing. But she goes for it. And I was just like, oh man.
And it's like the fact that she shows like no remorse really when like that's
No.
maybe the cruelest thing she could have ever said to him.
Yeah.
He has said he had never told anybody yet about finding his parents like that, and she used it against him. That's heinous. I still think you can have people do bad things in movies, but why wasn't she immediately like, oh my God, but then there would still be something irreparably damaged between them because she said something she can't take back. That's real. That's relatable. I've done that too, where I've said, and then immediately I see the person's face and I'm like, I fucked up. Like there was no reason to say something like that, but there was no sense of that from her.
No.
She just turns around and walks away and leaves him with his feelings, which is pretty cruel. So then she tells him, can you just like not be around? My parents are coming over for lunch on Sunday, which is like, where can he go? You got the car. He doesn't have any friends or family here. So, but that night he goes to sleep on the couch, but then when he wakes up, it looks like he's being dragged by someone, but it turns out it's just his body being pulled towards her. And then there's like, I like this scene. There's this, like the door creaks open and she kind of like exorcist, like, turns backward and is like, I don't know, just like starts like, her body starts contorting in painful ways as she is also pulled towards him. And he takes like the muscle relaxer. And that's supposed to, like their hands become fused, but they take the muscle relaxer. He wakes up and he's being tied to a chair and she's on him. Turns out they are still fused and she's got the saw from earlier and she's pouring
Right.
alcohol down his throat. If you've seen the preview, this is like, I think the scene they always show in the preview. And he's basically like, you don't have to do this. Like, please don't do this. And, she eventually convinces him like, no, this is the right idea because they keep becoming more fused. And so she saws, I do like this scene because like she kind of starts, but then kind of like her arm swings back and she's like, and by the way, I'm so sorry I didn't believe you earlier. And he's like, just do it. And so she cuts and then we don't really see it. We just then cut to the aftermath of them both just sitting. There's like blood all over the floor and they're both sitting like opposite sides of the kitchen. So they decide, to get help. Like they need to go to the hospital. And Millie tells Tim, don't do anything stupid. And she goes to Jamie's house to get help. We see the bell above his house. You could already tell he was probably evil. And here's a problem I have. This is where you go, oh, the budget must not have been very high for this, because cults have like more than one person in them. Like, yes. This is a one-man cult, apparently. Like, that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah, like, exactly. Huh.
So Millie goes to his house. His door's open. She lets herself in. And meanwhile, Tim goes to the spot where he thinks the couple went missing, like the cavern. There's just a wedding video playing in Jamie's house. And so she starts watching it. We can tell the wedding's already kind of weird. Meanwhile, we cut back to Tim. He sees that the cave walls have faces embedded in them. And then a hand reaches out toward him. It's the fused couple that went missing. And they look just like the dog. Like they're like shoddily fused together. And they're crawling towards him. We cut back to Millie. She's watching the wedding video. And it's apparent that there's some sort of ritual that Jamie went through. He gives this whole speech about how this is actually great. You're going to love it. You don't want to know what happens if you don't do it. We cut back to the fused people. Oh, okay. So we learn. Now, I think my thoughts ran away with me, and I began thinking of what I wanted to happen. Mm-hmm. First, I'll say what does actually happen is that the fusion is you become one person. So because it was two men in this relationship, we get one man. And so earlier we were supposed to think, who is that in the photo? Because they do focus on the photo a lot. Well, we couldn't recognize them because they've actually been fused together. I thought it was going to be more like one kind of consumes the other. And it's kind of like a Voldemort on the back of the head thing. And I was starting to hope like, oh, she's been such a bad girlfriend. I hope she's like, you're going to be in my body now. I thought that would be such an awesome ending of like, this is toxic until the end. That does not happen. He cuts Millie's arm. It's really nasty. The creature in the cave is like, help me. Tim climbs out. It has like a knife in its neck. He grabs the knife. Millie runs back home. Tim and Millie are kind of apart because they don't want to fuse together. And Tim's got he's like, I know the way I can, fix this. I'll kill myself. But Millie's already dying. So, she seemingly dies in his arms. And she's like, you're free now. Again, this is where I was hoping she'd be like, no, Tim, I know how to solve it. And then she does the ritual. And then he's a part of her forever. But kind of like the angler, like the female anglerfish with the male hanging on. I thought that would be the ending. And I thought that would be delicious. But no, he carries her inside and, she wakes up alive and she's like, what happened? And he's like, well, I knew of a way to fix us. Their hands are fused. She's like, no, I was going to set you free. And he's like, but babe, is that what you really want? She's like, no. And so then they play what, would be we get some details earlier that she loves the Spice Girls and, even though he's a music snob, oh, what a great thing that this guy, didn't begrudge her for her taste, but he pulls out Spice Girls album. They dance to it, they're naked now. They embrace and they fuse into one singular being. The movie ends with
really questionable CGI.
Yeah, it's not great. You don't need it's better in The Thing, which came out, decades prior.
And all the prosthetics and stuff were really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why they at the end went for the CGI. It's just,
I think they ran out of budget.
Maybe. It was a shame.
So it ends with Millie's parents who arrive for a visit. They don't notice the obvious blood on the ground for some reason. But when they open up the door, Millie and Tim have fused into one androgynous person. So if you were wondering where non-binary people come from, this is it.
Well, yeah, Jamie had said that that Plato story that he told about how we used to have 4 arms and 4 legs, and Zeus got really mad at us or whatever and cut us in 2. And that's why we are always searching for our other half. And so this is where non-binary people come from.
It would be so cool if at the end they had 4 arms and 4 legs. Like that would be so much cooler than whatever this was. Because if anybody's watched Steven Universe, they do this concept really well because they have this whole idea of fusion. There's a basically human main character and his like not girlfriend, but basically in the show is his girlfriend. And they fuse, and fusion is supposed to be seen as this total like this concept, but healthy of like you're in a relationship, you kind of become one person, but 2 halves of a whole, and they become this androgynous being. And it's done so well in the show. It was really touching to me because I do think if you live with a person, I don't know if anybody else feels like this. I feel like this with Alan. Like you feel like you can kind of read each other's minds sometimes. And like, you do kind of feel like, I think in a healthy way, 2 halves of a whole. And that it's like, you'll do a lot of things together. It's like, if you invite me, you got to invite him too. That's my boyfriend, my partner. Knowing how well it was done in one thing, a kid's show, like, I don't know. The ending kind of just left me feeling like this is stupid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, well, here's some trivia. It was filmed in only 21 days. So no budget. Okay. More details are coming out. This was Michael Shank's feature film directorial debut. I'm interested. I'll watch something else he does, but hey, he ain't no Ari Aster. I'll say that. Dave Franco and Allison Brie have been married since 2017. Cute. Advanced screenings in China on September 12, 2025 featured a scene that had been digitally altered by Chinese authorities, changing a same-sex couple into a heterosexual couple. The film's global distributor Neon subsequently condemned the modification, stating they did not approve of this unauthorized edit and demand they cease distribution, according to reports. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Dave Franco and Allison Brie had to wear the prosthetic that merged their arms for hours on end. In between takes, they even had to take bathroom breaks together. Well, thank God they were married, I guess.
Yeah. Gosh.
I hope they would never ask non-married people. You shouldn't even ask married people to do that. I mean, if they volunteered, that's one thing. But like at home, I'll be like, no, please close the door. Like, I don't want to see that. At the beginning of the film, Millie observes that she and Tim are wearing matching outfits to the party, prompting Tim to change his jacket, which symbolizes his desire to distance himself from her. By the end of the film, after their fusion into Tilly, they are dressed in the same attire that Tim and Millie initially wore to the party. Are they? I thought they were in like flannel at the end.
Flannel.
Because I was like, oh, non-binary people.
Yeah. Just so you know. And it's kind of weird. Like, I guess those are Franco's eyebrows. And, they did some composite of their face. But then the voice is just so crazy. It's like, hello. It's like,
come on.
It's just goofy. But yeah, I guess I'd like to see how Tilly's doing. These really sick people merged into one sick person. Like, how's that going?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Just tack another half hour onto the film or like do some rearranging, some editing elsewhere. But yeah, is it a happy ending?
This is why I wish my idea would have happened. Because I imagine her parents will come over. They'll be like, where's Tim? And she'll be like, he's around. And he's like on her stomach or something. Yeah. Like, that would be awesome. But no, we got Tilly. Well, briefly, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? Trout_pond gave it 5 stars. Love. Okay, this movie was wild. My wife and I ended it on 2 completely separate places, me feeling happy and her horrified. Sparked great conversation. I would have loved to be privy to that.
I'm with the wife.
Me too. Maybe the wife saw something in it. No, I'm just kidding. Peachy Gal give it 5 stars. Love the cult scene. Being mashed up together does not seem fun. What cult scene? I only saw one guy.
The marriage video scene.
Oh, okay. Joycey21 give it 5 stars. If he won't fuse, I don't want him.
If he wants to fuse, I don't want him.
I don't want him.
Oh my God.
Nakanishi give it half star. Absolute dumpster fire of a movie. Dave Franco is a horrible actor. Jesus fucking Christ. I gotta agree.
I don't think he's that bad.
He's still charming, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he's no Olivier. I mean, he's no whatever.
There were just some times where I was like, oh. But again, I didn't hate it. So does that mean he's bad? I don't think so. He's a cutie patootie. That's for sure. High Tilter gave it a half star. Horrible. Zoe Beale 15 gave it a half star. 2 conjoined thumbs down. That was funny. How would we rate it? How about couples that should break up?
A toxic couple. 3. I did not care for this movie at all.
2.5. 2, yeah. 2.75. 3. Fuck it. 3.
Yeah.
I think I still liked it more than White Worm, but I think it was a worse movie than White Worm. How does that make sense? I don't know.
Did you give both movies 3? Yeah. That's hard when you're only working with 5 stars. Like, what are you going to do?
What have we learned?
Oh,
go to therapy.
Jesus. Be yourself. Don't be codependent. And if somebody's being mean to you, they're not going to change. So that's what I mean. I would love to see how this person is doing, like what's going on internally.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to change. So I think it's a tragedy. I don't think this is a happy ending at all.
Yeah, they should have broken up. Would we watch it again? Probably not.
Nope.
Favorite scene and/or kill?
Okay, I thought the stuff in the shower was pretty darn good, and I thought his physicality was really good in the shower. And one thing I should say is trailers ruined this film for me. And that's not the fault of the film. That's, because I saw most of the film in the trailers. When she does that like back bendy thing and she's like kind of like being magnetized toward him, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Agreed. I like the nightmare scene in the beginning. That was the high point. That was when I was excited to watch the movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who wins the You Fool Award? Them both.
Yeah. They're both fools. Both damn fools.
I know it's easier said than done, but guys, like, life is too short to be miserable, be unhappy. Yeah. Especially if you're that sexy, the both of them. They both could do better. Not real ones, obviously, but Tim and Millie.
Yeah, and I do think it's cool that they got a married couple to do this, because yeah, you can sort of tell. I would love to see an interview with them. Like, what was it really like? Because they're calling each other babe and honey and stuff like that. And I wonder if they really do that in real life, Yeah. And did they was that sort of like a shorthand, like between the characters and the actors? And I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Alison Brie did do a perfect, like, babe.
Yeah. Babe.
Baby.
Well, thank you, Mac, for having this conversation with me about the lair of the white worm and Together. And thank you, WOHOs, for joining us and for all your support. It means the world of horror to us, truly. We appreciate you downloading the show and telling all your friends all about us. Next time, what will we be looking at, Mac? Folk horror, spiders, or found footage?
Found footage.
All right. So that means we'll be looking at Incantation and Willow Creek.
Yay.
Remember, Wohos, we love you, and don't go into the basement.